friends, the Uniform Civil Code is the most discussed political story of this week, and we are being joined in by someone who has been an indefatigable fighter for the cause of a uniform code in the country in many ways. Governor of Kerala, Arif Mohammed Khan, needs no introduction, but he's someone who has, who could actually be described as someone who has taken a very strong position, coming in himself from the minority community, taken a very strong position that a uniform code is actually a reformist law. Very good afternoon to you, sir, for joining us on this broadcast. And we would like to take this opportunity to focus on those aspects of this debate on uniform civil code, which should make it possible for a greater mass of citizenry of the country, sir, to see both the pluses and the minuses, the benefits and the drawbacks in their true light. So I would begin by asking you, sir, as someone who really took a very strong position in the Shah Bano era on uniform civil code, you see UCC as an imperative, as an idea whose time has come?
This is not a question of how I look at it or how you look at it and how others look at it. We must see how the Constitution looks at it. The Constitution has incorporated this provision in the directive principles of state policy. And it is not only that provision, because directive principles are not enforceable by the court, but directive principles are as far as the governance of these country is concerned, they have been described as very, not only as very important, but the Constitution says that while making the laws, the state shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. That apart, there is another aspect. The fundamental rights as enshrined in the Constitution of India, they prohibit any discrimination on the basis of religion, caste, gender, place of residence, etc. What is the position? I'm in a bit of a hurry, therefore I'm trying to sum it up. What is the position today? If two persons placed under similar circumstances, say two women belonging to two different religious communities, they go to the court for something, for the complaining against the same kind of offense, they will be asked what is their religion, and then they will be asked if she is a Muslim, then court will ask her whether you are Hanfi, you are Shafi'i, you are Maliki, you are Hanbali, you are Jafri. So in order to receive justice, I will have to disclose not only my religion, but also the sect I belong to, something which is prohibited by the fundamental rights of the Constitution. The UCC is not to bring about uniformity of custom, uniformity of ritual, uniformity of practices. Uniform Civil Code is about bring uniformity of justice for the Indian citizens. Therefore, we must try to appreciate the spirit behind this provision, which we have already completed 75 years. Now we are into Amrit Kal. The Honorable Prime Minister is repeatedly giving the call that we must redouble our efforts to realize the dreams of our freedom fighters, known and unknown. Surely these people who constituted the Constituent Assembly of India, they deserve that what they have enshrined as directive principle in the state policy must be given the form of law.
Sir, you say it's about gender parity, but the political opposition says it's not about that. It's about BJP politics of cornering the minorities, specifically the Muslims. How does it happen?
Well, everybody is entitled to their opinion. If that is the case, as you are saying, this country was partitioned in 1947, and one of the ground on which the demand for partition was made was that our religion will be in danger, our culture will be in danger, our things will be in danger. And what happened after the partition? Pakistan abolished this personal law in 1962, then they have done some irreligious act. If the Pakistanis can live without personal law, they placed restrictions on triple divorce, they rather banned it and placed restrictions on the polygamy. Then we are the only special Muslims who have the responsibility to uphold this, this law which was given by the Britishers, and they presented it as if it has something to do with the religion. So because they had the policy to use everything, religion, caste, language, region, everything, to make the divisions within Indian society deeper and deeper. So can't we learn anything even from Pakistan? They did away with this law in 1962.
Sir, then my question is, sir, you as someone who sacrificed power when you resigned from the Rajiv Gandhi cabinet on the Shah Bano law, where has been the failure, sir? Why not more and more people from the Muslim community have a position like you have had? You have not taken a position because the BJP is in power. You have had this conviction for decades now. Why not more people from the community come out and take this liberal, modernist, progressive position? Where has been the failure?
I find the wording of your question absolutely objectionable. Please do not look at the whole thing as Indian citizens. As long as we will keep using this language which we have inherited from our colonial master, who is minority? I am not minority. I am an Indian citizen. My constitution gives me equal rights. You call me minority. Indian constitution does not call me minority. Indian constitution gives the freedom to any section of the population. If they want to consider themselves minority, they can consider. The constitution does not define who the minority is. I ask you who the majority is. One in a democracy, in a rule of law society, one with law is majority. I stood up in 1986 not because I was a Muslim. I stood up because primarily I am citizen of India. I will stand for the law of this land. I will stand for the constitution of this country. I will stand for the unity of this country so that India becomes powerful. India gets its due place in the Committee of Nations. I strongly object to using these words minority and majority.
Sir, with due respect, sir, you know it, sir, that for whatever position you took in 1986, you were actually the minority. The majority was with AIM-PLB, as it was in the case of 1978 Child Marriage Restraint Act, as it was in the case of Right to Education Act in 2009, as it was in the case of the Triple Talaq law in 2019, going back to the 1955 Hindu codes, when even Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru could not, touch the minorities for whatever reasons. So, sir, my question was, if I could put it differently, why can't we have majority as progressive? You being the minority, not you as in the community, sir, your views being the minority.
Yes, there I am minority. That I agree with you. Yes, that I agree with you. If you look at it like this, that the majority of the people, I won't say majority of people in one particular community did not support me. If you say that, it is fine. But majority of the people of India, I still believe they supported me. Here the point basically is we should...
Then whom is AIM-PLB speaking for, sir?
At the things in a... I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. I do not know whom they are speaking for, but unfortunately, we have developed a way of doing politics in this country where political parties do not want to deal with the individual citizens. They want to deal with the brokers, with the middlemen, and it is they who have given them recognition. I am ready to wager anything. You, from Delhi, you travel to Ghaziabad or Bulandshahr and go to the interior villages and ask who is the president of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. Ask the Muslims. many of them will ask you, what is All India Muslim Personal Law Board? What to say of the president? It is the political parties who have developed the habit of going for block votes. They do not want to deal with the individual citizens. And that is what has created problem. It is not personal law board. It is parties who give importance to personal law board. Self-appointed people. Who has appointed them? And I will tell you,
Right, sir.
I have here with me a very leading Muslim alim, and who is the founder of Jamaat-e-Islami, what he said about this personal law, which is being described by personal law board as Shariat. I will tell you what he has said. Maulana Abul Ala Maududi, who was the founder of Jamaat-e-Islami, this is what he had to say. Give me just a second, and I will tell you.
Yes, sir. Please take your time.
And
that's important. Please take your time. We would want to hear that.
Before I tell before I tell you about Abul Ala Maududi, I would like to tell you that before 1937, when the Britishers brought this law, which is known as Shariat Application Act, there was, since early 13th century, the Muslim kings were ruling Delhi, and nowhere in the country the law of inheritance, everywhere the law of inheritance Muslims were following was their customary law. In Kerala, yes, in Kerala it was matrilineal system. So before 1937, this law was not there. But here I would like to tell you what Abul Ala Maududi has written in his book, Huquq Zawjain. He says the law known as Mohammedan law, Muslim personal law, both in its format and its spirit, is very different from Islamic Shariat, and its application does not deserve to be described as enforcement of Islamic law. He further says that the sorry state of affairs has immensely damaged the civil life of Muslims, and the most serious harm is that on account of this personal law, at least 75% of Muslim households have become veritable hell. This law has made the lives of the overwhelming numbers absolutely bitter. Rather, it has ruined them. This was the opinion. 1937, after the 1939, after the British government, they accepted their proposal to pass this law, but the other demand was that only Muslim judges can give judgment under this law. British government turned it down, and Jinnah supported them. After that, these very people who constitute Muslim Personal Law Board today, they said that situation has become worse than before. So they are not even aware of their own history. This has nothing to do with the religion.
Yes.
This was a device which was employed by the Britishers to keep the Indian society divided.
Yes. Yes. Sir, my second last question to you, sir. If you are saying that AIMPLB does not represent the majority Muslim voice, my question is then, is AIMPLB exaggerating Muslim concerns? And remember, there are Hindu concerns as well. Are they exaggerating Muslim concerns and showing them as Muslim fears?
I have not said they do not represent. I have said I do not know who has appointed them. In 1986, they were describing triple divorce as divine law. In 2017, in their affidavit before the Supreme Court, they said this is an innovation. They will start a movement against triple divorce. Which one to believe? I am raising question about their credibility. I am not saying that they do not. Why I should make any assertion? I am merely saying I want to know who has
Right.
appointed them. Are they an elected body? Secondly, my question is that if triple divorce was divine law, which could not be touched in 1986, why in 2017 they changed their stand? Today, you pass the, you make the uniform civil code. After 5 years, they will accept everything. This is, this is their old methodology. They were, to them, teaching English was haram. And they gave all kind of fatwas against Sir Sayyid. And then they started sending their own children to Aligarh. For long period of time, wearing watch when you are go to the mosque was prohibited. Then they themselves started wearing watch. You could not offer prayer wearing, for instance, coat and pant. But later, it became allowed. So they keep changing their stand after 30 years, all the time. In Shabano case, 86, they said triple divorce is divine in origin. 2017, just after 31 years, they changed the stand and they said that we will start a movement against it. Therefore, you give them importance, I do not give them any importance. For me, they are not.
Sir,
not
then
worth
my last question to you, sir. I hope a great mass of citizenry is watching you, sir. Such a positive, constructive voice. Sir, my last question to you, sir. Sir. If that be the case, then what needs to be done? What should be done so that this progressive, constructive idea is taken to more and more number of people, particularly from the Muslim community, so that their concerns and apprehensions are addressed without taking the route of people or organizations like the AIMPLB?
Sir, very recently, in 2019, when a law was made to make triple divorce a punishable offense, similar arguments were given. In 4 years' time, we have seen a decline of more than 95% in the rate of divorce in Muslim society. Who is the beneficiary? The Muslim women, and more importantly, the children whose future is affected by the divorce of their parents. So the real test of pudding is in eating. We can show these results. Just ignore those people who have a romance for regression. They are totally romantic about being regressive. And there are political elements who feel that it is not our concern to go for this social reform. Our concern is only to secure as many block votes as possible. Just ignore them. And without joining issue with them, ask them to give their proposals, consider them very seriously. In fact, if you leave it to me, I will say to them that you bring your own proposals, but they should be in conformity with the provisions of the Constitution, and we will incorporate them. There is no problem. The Hindu Code Bill has accepted divorce. Divorce is not mentioned in the Shastra. But today is the need. We can't do without that instrument. Likewise, there was no provision for the inheritance, women inheriting the poverty. So similarly, we will, while considering UCC, you give proposals, you give suggestions, and we will very positively consider them. That is the solution. But don't get frightened because they are threatening. Just ignore these threats. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Ever plain speaking, ever combative Arif Mohammed Khan, Governor of Kerala. Thank you.